Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for a good introduction. I'm delighted to be here today and would like to thank the British Council and the Office of the National Education Council. We have three honorable speakers up here today. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce all the speakers. First, the nearest distance is from Sripatum University. Is Dr. Suchai Thanawastien. Dr. Suchai is now the director of the Institute of Science, Information Science Institute, and also he is the director of the National Creative Academy for Software of the Prime Minister Office of Thailand. And of course, he will bring many topics as a guru of the creative economy for us today. Second, not very far, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor Steve Dixon, the president of LASALLE College of Art, Singapore. Actually, Professor Steve used to be in England. So, and Professor Steve has many distinguished careers in higher education, leadership, and also the professional creative industries. Last but not least, of course, Professor Cees Bont is from Hong Kong. It's a bit far, further than Singapore. He's the Dean of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University School of Design, Hong Kong. Professor Bont has very successful in his career also. Many things that he has done in Netherlands, and also he started to be in Hong Kong Polytechnic University in February this year. Well, I don't want to waste time to listen to all the three speakers, the good things that they want to share with us on the creative economy and in the international perspective. Today is very international. You can see that Professor Suchai is from Thailand, but he used to teach in the US. Professor Steve, he is from Singapore, but he used to teach and make research in London. Professor Bont, he is in Hong Kong, but he used to be the professor in Netherlands. So it's very international. Okay? So, should I start from Professor Suchai, Dr. Suchai first? Okay? In Netherlands, and also he started to be in Hong Kong Polytechnic University in February this year. Well, I don't want to waste time to listen to all the three speakers, the good things that they want to share with us on the creative economy and in the international perspective. Today is very international. You can see that Professor Suchai is from Thailand, but he used to teach in the US. Professor Steve, he is from Singapore, but he used to teach and make research in London. Professor Bont, he is in Hong Kong, but he used to be the professor in Netherlands. So it's very international. Okay? So, should I start from Professor Suchai, Dr. Suchai first? Okay?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. Okay, because it is something that I want to talk to you, to everyone here in this international arena. Okay, can you come up? Is the PowerPoint here? Okay. Okay. Even though I'm a professor in software, I'm very new to this travel equipment. It's right. I'm so stupid about this technology. Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
It's something that we have to learn. Okay, even at my age. Like Thailand's creative software economy and the future of Asian software collaboration initiatives. Okay, software is one of the key ingredients in any creative activity. We can dream. Okay, we can visualize. How can we translate that into the real thing? Okay, software is the key player here. Okay, in Thailand, fortunately, a few years ago, there's an initiative to set up 15 creative academy. Okay, under the National Creative Agency. Okay, we are lucky to be selected to be on the software side. Okay. To be the National Creative Academy for Software. After that, we have many ideas that we want to mobilize. Okay, and with that appointment, we have the enthusiasm and the budget to do. Okay, and this will give us some idea of what we have done so far. And in the era of Asian and global creative economy, how can we translate that, what we have done to this global arena? Okay. Here, we try to do something that is really worthwhile. Okay. In the software area, okay, we look into the software quality assurance aspect. How can we make sure that in the third world like us, okay, we have a very good ranking in World Economic Forum. We rank 38, okay, right now this year, okay, and we want to make sure that our software is of high quality. Then we look into the capability maturity model, okay, as kind of international standard here. The software testing center, we have spent billions of baht in Thailand to create a lot of software, but we never really test our software. Okay, we let the user test our software. Okay, it's all full of bugs. Okay, so we don't have really real testing methodology. We don't have the National Software Testing Center. Okay, that's our problem. Okay, we dream. Mr. Trairat is the director of Software Industry Promotion Institute. His dream, our national dream, is to be able to sell our software to USA, to EU, to Singapore, to many countries. Okay, so we want to cover all the product design, the venture capital. We want to have more startup here. We have very little startup in this area. What we want to do, number two, is more Asian initiative. Right now, what we have done can be translated into other countries. Okay, so we want to have Asian graduate program, Asian e-learning collaborative lab, Asian assistive technology, Asian digital heritage project, Asian cloud, whatever Asian app store. That's what we want. We cannot do it alone here. If we can mobilize this, it means that as a bloc, we have the power to compete against others. Okay? And our ultimate aim, number three, Asian for niche marketing. We want to attack the BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and EU and USA. Okay, with this
week. Well, I found that Dr. Suchai was the founding president of the Association of Thai Software Industry. So that's why all the slides, all the presentation is about the software. But no wonder, and don't worry, software is probably the best creative economy in the next 5 or 10 years, for sure, right? Okay. Next, I would like to give the stage to Professor Steve Dixon, please.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to talk particularly about industry and university collaborations, particularly in the in the context of research and development, R&D, and collaborations that are going to create products, content, innovation, and so on. At the end, I'll look a little bit about more academic, student-based collaborations between different universities. Okay, so in terms of the benefits of university creative industry partnerships, you see that quote at the beginning from the Australia Training Authority. Again, I'm going back to sort of an old scratch record theme that I spoke about this morning. It's really about collaboration. More than individual work. So actually, the benefits have long been known that universities working with business and industry will really help to generate and take the economy forward. That is not to say that it is not problematic, and it is. I spent. Before coming to Singapore, although I've still been kind of working in the arts in universities, I was also deputy head for a university that was, and my role was really specifically business collaboration between my university, Plenary University, and business and industry, particularly in areas of engineering, biosciences, and so on, as well as within the creative industry. So I kind of know how complex this can be. Okay, now higher education is very good at bright ideas, and also has the capacity to start to do a lot of things at quite low costs. Institutional benefits, take a look at the slide here. It's about real world and real impact. So instead of this ivory tower idea of the university, we are applying all our knowledge base to the real world and creating real impact in the world. I think it has a really sort of key aspect of this is also about reputations. The culture, elevating the culture, the research culture, the profile, pride, aspiration, and also promoting creative entrepreneurship and innovation, which will go across the institution, from the student, from student experience and the culture to do with teaching through to the highest kind of levels of research. It's also about new IP, concepts, processes, products and content, and ever important, particularly in the UK and Europe, this so-called third stream income beyond teaching and research, direct research funding. So commercialisation, licensing, spin-off companies, and so on. Also, of course, within academics, it's enhancing the curriculum, the currency, the student experience, and employability.
Today's signing is not just a major milestone for LASALLE and Bolton's college, but it's also an important step forward for Singapore's art and cultural landscape. The arts are a very important part of a gracious Singapore society. Arts and cultures, they uplift our emotions and they bring our people together and bond us closer together. This program will help to develop passionate leaders and talented performers in the arts, and in due course, we will produce a constellation of alumni who will do you proud and do Singapore proud.
Well, luckily that was short. Apologies for that. At least you heard the Prime Minister's sentiments and so on. Just a final slide about the benefits of the LASALLE Goldsmiths partnership. Obviously, as you know, Goldsmiths is one of the leading arts institutions in the world and in terms of research. So, but I think it's important that it strengthens both institutions. It's actually Goldsmiths' first major project, a major partnership, and it is genuinely a two-way knowledge transfer. So it's not just LASALLE being the lesser partner, it's a smaller partner. It really is two-way. For LASALLE, obviously, it enhances reputation, our market competitiveness. We have validation of all our degree programs, and that's led to government funding, which is one reason why the Prime Minister of Singapore came.
art and design, certainly at LaSalle and at NAPA, the other big arts college, have never been supported and subsidised by government before. Now they're doing it. We have academic link tutors. Obviously, it's enhancing the quality of teaching. There's lots of mentorship and so on. It's transforming our research culture. That's helping to drive that. There are some challenges. Synchronising time is a big time gap, but also timetables and learning outcomes for student exchange. So we're looking at student exchanges for a semester, but then we have to make sure that the credits of all the courses work together and so on. And that's something of a challenge. We've worked it out. Also, it's an exclusive contract, so we can't work with any other partners for those sorts of exchanges, which may be an inhibition. Cost, it's quite expensive. Cultural, both institutional and in terms of sort of Asia and Europe, and distance. So actually, when you have kind of big meetings, it's a major flight. That's me. Apologies for going on a little bit long. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Well, sometimes creativity depends on the technology. Professor Dixon has given us a very good thought of the relationship in 6,000 design or the scientific fund cannot complete all of that, and probably sometimes just one to become commercial. And also very important are the networking and the collaboration. I think LASALLE is doing this a lot in Singapore. At least you have Mr. Lee Hsien Loong as your networking, right? Okay. Next will be Professor Cees de Bont. Please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to the British Council for inviting me to come to this fantastic country. Very exciting discussions that we have here, presentations. I'm aware that there's a lot of information coming to you, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of interesting ideas and thoughts, and that you've had a lot of that already. So what I will try to do is slow down speaking a little bit so that you can kind of have a soft landing before you have the break. What I will do is I will speak about, of course, our school in Hong Kong, which has a position in Asia, but also a little bit wider in the world. We are in a world of change, and I'm not going into all of these details of change, but there's changes in the industry landscape, there's changes in the field of design, changes in technology. The design disciplines, they change, they get blurred, they become different as we speak. We have lots of economic developments in Asia, but also other parts of the world that are, taking a different shape now. All of these things are happening at the same time. And if you are aware of that, what does that then mean for design education? If you look at design education, there's curricula being developed, and then for like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years, schools are running these curricula. And then after 4 or 5 years, they say, maybe we make some changes, and then they have a new curriculum. While at the same time, if you look at all of these changes happening in the world, so how can you keep up the pace in your teaching with what's happening in the outside world? How do you do that? We are trying to find ways to at least be well connected to what's happening and to prepare and equip our students to really, when they graduate, be very, let's say, useful for companies and organizations that they work for. Going back to our school, I take pride in the School of Design of the PolyU. We have a very international mix of staff members from the US, from Europe, lots of people from Hong Kong as well, but then most of them went out to France, to Europe, other countries in Europe, to the US, and then came back. So actually, each and every staff member has had an international experience of several years. We ranked number 9 in productivity in design journals. And so it was said that academic research is very important in different fields. Also, we think in the design field. Number 9 in productivity in the world is okay, but we are number 1, together with another school, university in Singapore, in Asia. We have quite a few amazing alumni, and I only mention a few. Raymond Hui, he was an Oscar winner animator. He was not the only one who won an Oscar award. There's another one he did so in special effects. We have Viviane Tan coming out of our school. She's in fashion. Out of the 1.3 billion Chinese people, she's probably the most successful person using her own name as a brand. So really proud of her. There's one fifth partner that we hope to get on board, and that will be Brunel later this month. We try to get Brunel also into this, let's say, cluster of schools where we collaborate with much more closely. We speak about interdisciplinarity. Actually, that's what we're doing here with the new program. We invite students with a background and working experience in design, engineering and business to come into this program, which is a one-year program. They learn about the essentials of the other fields. They learn about managing interdisciplinary teams, and they also go into the field. So they will spend somewhere in the world with students with different disciplinary background, with different cultural background. They will work on real-life projects for at least 7 weeks together, and then after that they will reflect on that. So they will write, let's say, personal reflection on what does it mean to work with people from different countries, using design methodology for real-life projects, and how did they kind of benefit from, let's say, the concept that they were given, and how did they manage to work towards a solution. So that is a new program that we will offer. We will really invite, students from Asia, but also from other parts of the world to really take part in this. I think this is going to be really exciting and the next step in preparing us better to be kind of really equipped to deal with the changes that are so really rapidly taking place around us. So thank you so much for your attention, and I'm really proud of you that you could make it even the last 15 minutes that you were still awake. And thank you so much for listening, and hope to meet you again during the break. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Cees. The key highlight of Professor Bont is to work outside the classroom, cooperate with other people, right? And also be flexible. That's all I can catch up from Professor Bont. But all I would like to summarize the points that I heard from all three speakers up here. They're all trying to say that the design in the creative economy must be relationship together. Also between university and university, or university and the industry, or even for the government agency whatsoever. Well, let me ask you a bit one question. How sustainable we can make for the university and the industry relationship on the creative economy, industry and design, something like that. How do you think, how we make it sustainable? Should we start from Professor Dixon? Yeah.
I think it's a complex question, and both industry and education are changing all the time. I think there is the will to go forward. It will always be there. In terms of sustaining it, as I was trying to make clear, without being too depressive about it, sometimes the commercialization of the IP. And the different benefits can be quite complex, and things are certainly changing in terms of a move away, as I said, from universities creating spin-out companies and so on, because too many universities were losing money creating their own spin-out company, for example. But I think that there will be, and it will continue to be, a long-term sustainable ecosystem and philosophy that industry, creative industries will work with universities, with education providers. At the same time, I think there are certain sectors that work more. Design works far more than, say, performing arts. Music, drama, and so on. It's difficult to make those relationships happen. And obviously, it's kind of, there are some successful examples, whereas in the design field there are hundreds of successful examples. So I think that's another challenge. Thank
you. Organize your alumni contacts, not only to get donations and the like, but much more to be connected to the industry as kind of have real-life examples and cases, to things to work on, to steer research, and to have interest in student projects.
So long-term relationship is very important. What about Dr. Suchai? Let me tell you, Thailand is different. Okay. Industry in the private sector, university, these two parties alone go together, cannot work in this new economy area. We need the third party government agency, because the Thai people love rule and regulation. Okay, we need government sector, for example, the software industry promotion agency to be the stewardship of, for example, a kind of creating an army of Android programmers for creating new class of software. We need a government agency. Then we need university, provide an open environment. We need industry to get this and that to build into a real business. Three parties always. In the past, in Thailand, the government do it alone, and I think they're the best. Okay, and they never involve the university. They involve only lip service. The industry don't give a damn, just do it on their own. That's why. But to work together, to have more output, we need three parties. Then we have to use new ideas. We cannot rely on the old model. For example, suppose I want to build a new music industry. I cannot compete it in Thailand. Grammy. So I ask my students, look into the open music concept. So we can build a new business of open Thai, open source music, Tom, okay? And we use Tom to compete against the bigger giant Grammy. So we need a new concept always, okay? And government should not come as a lip service. Government should come to play a role here to enable us and this new paradigm, new era. I think with the director Trairat, we can do that. Okay? So we need already three. In the other countries, they need only two. Okay, in Thailand we need three. Thank you very much. So government support is the key things to do, right? Okay, I promise you, Doctor. But let me share with the audience that I'm just on this position less than 2 months, okay? And I'm supposed to be here for 4 years. It depends. If I'm 4 years in the position, I'm sure that the creative business and industry will grow. All right? Okay. Well, we don't have much time. For today, I know that this is a very fruitful session. Any questions from the floor? Yes, please. Or many questions. One first. Is the lady?
From Ravensbourne, and we're a higher education institute in London that specialises in design and technology. And coming from the UK, which has benefited greatly from its ability to attract and retain foreign talent, I'm just wondering what you would consider the role of the diaspora nationals and how they can engage with your bid to develop the creative economies across the Asian countries, if you see there's a role for them, because I think right now we've got them working very hard for the UK creative sector.
So who's going to respond to the war here?
No, I'd absolutely agree. I think there's a major role to play there, and I think again it is about dialogue internationally, and in terms of diasporas, people coming back into Thailand using those models, and referring really to Dr. Suchai's talk about government being involved and so on. Again, those experiences, the more that there is that those international networks work, and people go from their country to another country and back to their own country, and start to sort of import good practice in terms of that. So, I was talking, quite a lot about examples from Europe and from the UK in my presentation, and in a sense, I assumed that it's because the government in the UK, all of the, I was talking about that Jaguar Land Rover project of 10 million. The government gave sort of half or three quarters of that money as an incentive for those partnerships and for that R&D to take place as part of the wider sort of innovation agenda. And the UK government and European government, kind of. Have always been absolutely the catalysts and the driver. They tell business to work with universities. They tell universities work with business. So and they provide the seed funding that's matched. So again, I think the more that those sorts of knowledges, opinions, and cultures are shared, the more positive are going to be the outcome.